item number 1, discuss, consider, and act upon a resolution rescinding the administrative services award to GrantWorks. Adam, are you gonna explain kind of what we're doing here, since this was, you have all the details?
Yes.
We get to do something twice.
All right, yeah, that's exactly, council, what we
Not our
need to
fault.
do. That's not our fault. We might say that when it is our fault, but it really isn't our fault. So we're gonna go through this again. It's basically to redo the block grant from the Texas Department of Agriculture and go through the steps again, because the paper did not advertise the date they said they were. And therefore, it did not meet the minimum requirements to go out for bid, so we had to redo the entire process again. So tonight, you're going to, number 1, you're gonna rescind, which is item number 1, so y'all can do them back to back. Item number 2 is you're going to award GrantWorks again as the administrator for this grant. It's the hiring resolution. And then lastly, and these are in the order they need to occur, lastly is the resolution that authorizes the application for the block grant. So it's rescind, hire the administrator, which is GrantWorks, and then give them permission to go forward on the grant. There were some blanks in the documents, because at the time we had to post this, we hadn't received the submittals. We didn't receive those actually until they weren't due until Tuesday at 2 o'clock. So we'd already had to post an agenda, so there were some blanks in your documents. But it's all correctly done, and we're ready to move forward again.
Okay, so on a resolution to rescind the last one, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right, I got David with first. Second. Cindy with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. That carries. We'll go to number 2, discuss, consider, act upon a resolution to award and authorize GrantWorks on this grant.
I'll make the motion. Second.
All right, Alan with a first, Dave with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. We will move on to agenda item number 3, and that is to act upon the resolution authorizing the submission of the block grant.
Make a motion.
I make a motion.
You're spending.
It's a bad day when I have to remind you what.
I know.
Oh, it's been a week.
How to say it. No.
I know. I make a motion that we approve a resolution authorizing the submission of the CDBG grant program application to the Department of Agriculture.
Okay, have Cindy with the first,
I'll second.
Wade with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous.
Thank you, council. And this is Charles from GrantWorks. They're here again, and I'll be working with him primarily, I believe, through this process.
That's
So-
Cindy.
Yes.
Yes,
with that Cindy.
Oh, excuse me, I didn't know you.
You got fired and hired all in one.
All in one meeting. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. No, we're excited we got it all finished. And
Maybe y'all were doing
I did too at first. So I actually filled out the form last time. Did I not need to do that again?
It's the same thing.
Okay, good. All done. Perfect. Okay, so now we're on item number 4. This is discuss, consider, and act upon a resolution adopting a social media policy regarding the use of social media. So this is to meet a legislative deadline to remove, ban TikTok, I guess, from all phones pursuant to legislation that the state of Texas passed for all government equipment. So that's what we, that's why this is on the agenda. We sent out the EDC had one that Victoria created that we just kind of, I think that's what you guys have in front of you. I resent it to you today.
No, you didn't send the one I sent?
Whatever came to me, yes, you sent it to Deidre, I sent it to them.
Okay, so it's based on that, but there are some changes because of our structure.
Right, yeah, so we had to, yeah, of course, so instead of Gunter EDC, it's the city council, instead of the board, it's the council, instead of the president, it's the mayor, so there were some things that changed, and definition
Yeah,
of
there's a couple.
representative, which would cover all council, commissioners, boards, even volunteer firefighters, or anybody that's joined to volunteer on behalf of the city. It covers everyone, yeah.
There's a couple other changes, but
So do you want to open that? Because last night when I looked, I didn't see any changes when I redlined it. So will you, other than the making it applicable to?
Well, one thing I added when posting to social media, it's on page, it would be page 4. When posting on social media, the following guidelines will be followed. It's pretty much all the same, except I added be non-biased, post facts only, not endorsements or opinions. That would mean something like that.
I have a lot of questions on this thing. Yeah, the governor has outlawed TikTok, and we can have a resolution to reinforce his edict or not. I don't really think it matters, because we can't have it whether we have a resolution or not.
Right.
But this goes way beyond TikTok. If we wanna say we're not using TikTok, let's just say that and be done with it. I'm not understanding what we need the rest of this for. This thing is like 15 pages long.
Well, it's
Well, it
to
doesn't have
help,
page
it's to
numbers, but
help,
It's extraordinarily long and rambling, and I don't understand what it is that we're trying to solve with this.
Well, like she's saying right here, be clear in purpose, have an authentic, or be authentic, transparent.
to have, so when we're.
Don't put our own stuff out there like
Wh-
fun stuff. Set
so-
us up.
Well, if
As
that's
an-
what we
as
wanna do,
an
why
in-
don't we say that, because this
I-
doesn't say that.
Yeah, so what all this pertains to is when you're posting on official city media, so like Facebook, Twitter, or X.
On the city page,
On the
or
city-
just me in
On the
person?
city page, no, you in person is
See,
addressed
there is
later.
no one going to be posting anything on the city Facebook page.
For the city, for
No.
the Facebook page, or
Well,
commenting?
With, not them, I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about the social media administrator and the assistant administrator.
Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about as far as city council.
No, we're
The
just
City
not.
council does not need to reply to
No, no, no.
anything on our Facebook.
Yeah, so it does have the private stuff.
It does have the private stuff too, there's a
Right.
comment response protocol.
Well, it's number 9, and.
Yeah.
William, I think we need this, cause over the past, how many ever months, I mean, I've said it openly, and I'll say it again, I'm not on social media, I don't need, nor do I want a spokesperson for me on social media, although that's happened. I think if you're gonna post city-related stuff on your personal page or on other pages, you need to put a disclaimer on there saying that this is my opinion, I'm not representing the city.
Well, I agree with that, but I don't think this, I think we need something, but I don't think it's this necessarily. I
Well,
don't-
Victoria wrote it,
well, I don't know- I don't know
Primarily
who-
drawn towards
I
the
don't know
city.
who Victoria is.
she's
Our
the
legal.
attorney for.
She's the attorney for the EDC with our firm.
Well, it just rambles, and I'm not sure what the point is, and I don't even know where we're trying to go, I'd like to have a clear understanding of what the problem set is, so we know that we're fixing the problem, we're not just adopting something just because
So
it's
let me answer
written
that
down.
real quick, as best I can. 1 through 8, all of this is pertaining to what we as a city put on our official pages, nothing to do with us individually,
Yeah.
but our official YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all that stuff, X, whatever it's called. So Instagram, whatever we have now, they're listed in the bullet points, but 1 through 8 pertains to that. It's how it's the voice we use, it's how we respond, do we respond, comments, when we answer them, all those kind of things. From a perspective of right now, the only
Thank you.
people who have access are Deetra, Susan, or Mardell, our website, she does a lot of our postings for us. And then I have access to the website right now, not the Facebook pages and all. So there really are only 3 of us.
Well, I mean, look, there's things in here like, be conversational but factual, what does that mean, how do you enforce that?
But that doesn't apply to you, because you don't
I
have
don't,
the city.
it doesn't.
You're just saying you
whoever it
can't enforce
applies
it.
to.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can't do it.
It's a policy, not a
Well, then
law.
why do we need to adopt it as a resolution? Just make it a city policy when you
And
give
it
it to
could be.
employees and be done with it, right?
It can be, I
But-
mean,
But if we're gonna have something, it ought to make sense. Like,
Okay.
use first person, we, never I. Well, those are both first person. We is plural, I is singular. I mean, if we're gonna have it, it needs to be accurate and it needs to make sense.
okay.
So, I mean, I would say we table this until this gets looked at and we have a clear set of goals that we're trying to achieve, and then we match the language in here to the goals we're trying to achieve.
So let's meet the guideline for the governor as far as TikTok.
Well, that one is easy,
then-
we'll just make, I mean, we're gonna follow state law, we're not gonna use TikTok, we don't
And
need,
then with
we
the
don't need
spaces, we
15
have to have a
pages.
policy in place.
We don't need
so-
15 pages to say we're not gonna use TikTok, we can do that with one line.
This
Yes.
is more for like the handbook of the city
Yeah,
employees.
so we should
And we
look
do
at this
not
a little
have-
more closely, because we don't wanna adopt something that we go back and say, well, how do we even do this?
But we're adopting this for the city employees,
Has this already been
and
adopted
it
for
has to come
EDC?
across our desk.
It has been adopted for EDC.
I just wanna make sure number 9 is followed by everybody sitting at this
Well,
table.
like what does all social media accounts must be
But I have a problem with number
initially
9.
approved?
What's your problem with number 9?
What were you saying?
Number 5, all social media accounts must be initially approved. I mean, okay, well, after they're initially approved, then what? Then they don't have to be
Yeah,
approved.
we already have them.
I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff in here that just seems to be like thrown together, and like I said, I'd like to know what we're trying to solve.
We're trying to,
Have the goals laid out clearly, and then make sure that each thing in here addresses those goals.
We
Not
have
just
to have
have
a social media policy in place by the 19th.
Well, the policy has to say we don't use TikTok, that is the only state
That's what has to
legislative
be
requirement.
done
That's the only
tonight.
And this is lumped in together with.
So I would make a motion that we
Hold on, I'm not done.
cut this down to nothing, but we don't use TikTok, and we come back and revisit the longer one later.
Which means we'd have to have a meeting before the 19th, and our next meeting's on
No,
the
we
21st.
can approve just that clause.
The only thing we're
If we
required to do is have TikTok off, right?
We could approve just that tonight and then come back for the rest.
The rest of it is kind of meandering, and I'm not even sure what we're trying to accomplish. And I'm not even sure we did accomplish it, if what we're trying to accomplish, even if we understood it, I'm not sure this does it. That's all I'm saying.
Where's the TikTok clause? What section
it's
is
at the
it?
back, it's like at the very end.
Is it the very end?
Yeah, and what I don't
Number
like, I don't like having 15 pages of stuff get tacked on to say, oh, and we're supposed to have a policy against TikTok. Well, let's take those things up one at a time, deal with the TikTok problem.
Well, we
and
do
come
need a
back and
social
visit
media
this.
policy.
Yeah.
So tonight we could, where is the
Number
TikTok?
11.
See,
Okay, yes, I'm on 10.
Yeah.
Okay, I just skipped past
Kind
it.
of buried in there somewhere. So
No,
almost
mine
like an
is missing.
afterthought.
Why is mine
That's
on-
the primary purpose of it. Let's make that
That was the
clear.
primary purpose of why we had to do it tonight, is to adopt the TikTok.
Yeah.
Legislative, we have to, oh, there it is. I thought it was in bold, and it's not, I went past it. Okay, so number 11 is nothing but TikTok. We could say that that is the only thing that we're doing tonight is 11A, if we wanted to adopt that. But I do have, this needs to be done, because we've got some problems with social media. I'm getting way too many people calling me, texting me, sending me stuff, and they're upset. They're like, make it stop. Like, how to make it stop? We have to make it stop. We have to figure it out, because we are in violation of TOMA in some aspects. We have to be very careful, and it's incredibly important to me, and I know it's incredible to all of y'all. You've all said that. We do not want to be doing that. So let's go to the couple of things that I wrote in here in my notes are, when we go to number 9, and we talked about this at TML2, and I followed up with this with the speaker at that, but let's go when we go to private use of social media. Obviously, and Cindy and I talked about this the other day, you do have a First Amendment right to get on any kind of social media as yourself and say what you want. You have a private Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is, you know, TikTok on your private or whatever, you can talk about whatever you want. That is your First Amendment right. Nobody's gonna try to stop that. But here's where we gotta clean this up. I think, and y'all can tell me what you think about this, I have a candidate page for what I recreated when I was running for mayor, so I have that page still. That's where, and it says it on my page, this is my opinion from my personal viewpoint and perspective, and I owe that to anyone who may vote for me or not vote for me. They deserve to know where I stand on everything, so that's where I communicate. Now, I created a separate one so that I could push out things like agendas or, you know, important information where I cut the comments completely off. Nobody gets to say anything. It's just, here's information. I use my official city email on that one. It is, and I say it's an official, and I use it as an elected official. That's just to get more information out, because people are naturally gonna follow you each one of you, if you had a page specifically for, because they wanna get those updates, that just makes sense. So, what I suggest, so that we can do what we need to do, and speak to the people who we represent, that's incredibly important, we have to have an outlet to do that. But we also have to be able to do it from our particular position of how we feel, not on behalf of everybody, right? So if each of us had let's say, we're talking about Facebook. If you wanna participate, you gotta place 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and have a mayor. This is all official stuff. And there's some rules with that. You either open comments to everyone, or you can choose to have no comments at all, but you have to be consistent. And then people can come to you and ask you questions.
People don't.
Well, hold on a minute. And you can post things and get their feedback. I have a problem. See, that's totally fine. They understand that they went to your page, you're answering for yourself, and if you wanna open that up for discussion, go for it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If I know what's coming, sometimes I won't, because I have to treat everybody fairly, right? And I may not have time for that. I may not wanna go there in that moment. So maybe I turn the comments off. What we have a problem with is you have a Facebook group. I'm in it, Alan's in it, and Cindy's in it. You don't have Facebook at all. William, I think you left. But you see the problem with that? There's 4 of us in a group, and per the Open Meetings Act, a meeting, if somebody discusses business, that is a meeting. Whether you don't have to say a word, right? So that is a violation of TOMA. Yes, it is, Cindy. It's absolutely a violation of TOMA. If you go back to Jenny, the division chief, she says that when you're receiving information, you're deliberating, even if nobody says a word, it is considered by definition, that is a meeting. And here's the problem with it. We didn't post the notice. We're in there deliberating because we're getting feedback of what people are talking about. So we're thinking, we're deliberating, and not everybody has access to it, unlike our website.
Some people are blocked on your page.
Some actually are
Some
blocked.
people are blocked on Wade's page.
Well, and that's true. Some are blocked in all the different pages. Moms and dads, there's a lot of pages we all go in. But that's where the problem is because if you have a group, the rest of us don't need to be in it. We just don't. So I would suggest in your group, the rest of us need to leave it. In your group, the rest of us need to leave it. Because when we're in there, that is a violation of TOMA. I have a problem with that. I don't like it at all, and I'm tired of people who don't like it telling me, and I can't fix it. So, number 1, we need to be limited to what we are talking about. When we talk about city business, I think city business needs to be from our pages where people come to us and we can talk freely, and you don't block anybody. In groups, I think that only one of us need to be in the group, and everybody else, you refrain from speaking out in groups, because when you do that, it is like you're speaking on behalf of everybody, because they know it's a small city. They know that when I'm talking, I'm speaking as the mayor because I have information, right? It's the same way for all of you.
Well, if I say I personally feel this way, that's not speaking for everybody.
But you're in a group where the rest of us are, and that's a violation. If it's in your group, I think it's a bad thing to set that. I'd rather you say, come on over, I'm gonna post that here, and let people come to your page. That way you also have a chance to control it. I don't think any of us need to be off into the groups, hidden or otherwise, because there's stuff I'm blocked from seeing, and I don't care. But I think it's wrong because other people are also blocked, right? There's other people that are also blocked. You're talking city business, that's a fine line, and I think that's just not a good way to be. It's not an honorable way that we need to be practicing transparency. So,
So on that note though,
right.
like my page that I created years ago, because I was blocked by city council members from being on Gunter Growth or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
The only people that are blocked on our page were the ones that broke the rules.
Agreed. Mine too.
And
So there's that. Now, I have my own personal page, and then I also
Right.
have Wade Birdsfield, City of Gunter council member page.
right.
So if I wanna go out there, city business, or put my 2 cents in on the city,
Yeah.
I'll go underneath the Wade and city council
I think
member.
That's perfect.
That's perfect,
Now,
don't
would
you
I
think?
go out right now though and say, I don't support this, or I'm not this,
Right.
that's me personally, cause I'm still a citizen. That's why I'm
Yes.
here, it's that that, but if I was gonna go out there, yes, like a politician and say something on behalf of the city, then like you have your mayor for Sutherland, and then you have your personal.
Yeah.
So that's where that is, but on the blocked part, you know, I think on most people, it's because you broke the rules. You either bullied or mean or whatever.
Yeah, and the law
and
didn't care about
kicked out.
that.
But we
you
don't
can do it
share-
because it's your
yeah.
group.
Yeah, it's a group, but we don't, if we're sharing something, it's just
Yeah.
sharing whatever the city posts.
Right.
We share it to that page, great,
Right.
because there's a lot of people
Yeah.
that are on our pages that don't see the city of Gunter
Right.
page, but other than that, I don't comment them, because yes, I know that then that is, and I also know that if I comment and there's 30 comments in there, and I go and comment and I'm 31, but you were 15 and you were 12,
Right, that's a problem.
that broke, that broke, so
That's a
that's the other
problem.
thing, I know
Right.
that from the start, is I'm not gonna go comment whether Cindy's on there or not, because
Yeah.
you just never know, so I try and stay off of things.
But even if Cindy reads it, it's still.
It's still deliberating, you're still in a meeting because you're all in there and they're going back and forth on an item and you're listening to, and you're all in the same group.
I understand that, if I was going underneath though my Wade Birdsfield, whatever, council member, place
Yeah,
number 4,
no,
and go
that's-
in there and say
Well,
something,
the
then
I
yes,
think
but I
that's
mean,
where
as
it should be.
citizens,
the
if
best
I'm-
comment for you would be, if you'd like to know how I feel, go to
Come
this
over
page.
here. Yeah, and
Don't put it
then,
out there in the ether for everybody who is just trying to bounce
To
the ball
start.
around.
you know, yeah.
Just say, I feel strongly about this, and if you'd like to know my opinion, go here.
Yeah, and you need to put a
Yeah.
disclaimer on there because I don't have a spokesperson, real profile or fake one. I don't have a real, any kind of spokesperson that represents me on Facebook, and I don't want that. If you've got opinions, you've got a First Amendment, God bless you, knock yourself out. But if you're talking about city business, you need to put a disclaimer on there that that's your opinion.
I think doing it on a specific page that is you, and you have that voice, I mean, for like mine, my campaign page,
Mhm.
that's where I talk and I communicate with people who, you know, because I signed it up, I did it before I was elected.
Mhm.
My page says, while I am the current mayor of Gunter, Texas, when I post this page, it is in my personal capacity. I am not exercising my official authority on behalf of the city of Gunter, but rather my First Amendment right of speech from my personal viewpoint and perspective.
And you have
That's on
people
your
not?
personal page.
That is
not
on my
the mayor.
campaign page.
Okay, the campaign,
But my official
mayor's.
mayor
yeah.
page, I don't talk
Yeah.
my opinion because people understand that's official.
So
Yes.
are you saying,
See what I'm
like, on our
saying?
city council pages, we can talk our opinion?
I think that we need to have, each of us individually have a page where we have that disclaimer if we wanna communicate about city business.
That's on my personal page.
And let people come to you, and that way Alan doesn't go to your page, and Dave doesn't go to your page, Wade's not gonna go to
Because
your
it's
page, cause
listed
now
as a
we're,
council
now
page.
we're talking, we shouldn't. Alan shouldn't know what you are communicating with the people who wanna hear from you, right?
I don't wanna read what you're.
Wade shouldn't know what Williams' constituents are asking him to do. Wade has his own page, he answers to the people who are asking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a
Separate.
council
We're not
member, but like,
crossing
so for
over.
example, if someone was like, hey, I'm really opposed to an off-leash law, and I'm
Right.
like, yeah, I am too, on
Right,
my personal page, whether it's Gunter Mom and Dad's or whatever,
Yeah.
or even the city
Yeah.
page, I am too, that's me
So-
personally, but now if I was coming in as, whether council member, whatever, and I said, I strongly agree, I am
Right.
not like that, and I'll do all my powers to say no to it, that I think is wrong, because that's city official business, but if I'm just coming out as a civilian or citizen, I don't want an off-leash law, you know?
I think that's one of the things that really needs to be in here, is that if you set up your campaign page for you to be able to talk to your constituents, there's no way that I could possibly be your friend on that page.
Yeah, well, it's not even a page, it's just a
It's just
profile.
a-
Yeah.
yeah, right.
It's just a profile.
Yeah.
So-
Profile, but
Yeah,
I,
and-
Profiles don't go there.
if we just,
It's a-
regardless.
you have to
Yeah,
set
and that's why you guys have never seen it, cause I've never used that in
Right.
Gunter Mom and Dad's
Right.
to post my opinion,
Right.
and it has no friends, no nothing, cause it was for like, if we,
Yeah,
it was
page.
when we were supposed
a
to,
page.
run for these positions and we weren't
Right.
on those.
Right.
I just
right.
changed it for running for seat 4 too.
But
So
a way
we
you
would
could
block
use that
everybody
is when
else that's on
people
the
ask you
council,
about
so
something in a
never cross
group,
it.
Oh, this
say,
is,
hey, it's over here.
Ghostbusters 101.
I'm
So-
gonna post the agenda, if you have questions, then you can.
I
you
don't
can
even
talk
answer
about it.
those, because
Yeah.
that's where it does get me into, I don't even answer if someone's
Yeah.
asking me,
It's- yeah.
even when they text my wife, I
It just,
don't
all of
ever
us in the
answer it.
same groups, that is a problem for me, and I
Yeah.
think that, and people are noticing it, cause I'm getting those complaints. And they're right, that's, we shouldn't all be in there listening to each other and the people.
And I don't know what the rules are, but, I mean, I would think that if you're posting city business, or you're talking about city business, I would think you need to archive that.
You have to.
Well, you do have to, and we're not doing
I
that.
just, and
That's a
August,
problem.
the
Does
Secretary
that
of State
include
was.
private messages that you're?
You
Yeah, yeah, you
can,
have to.
yes.
Absolutely.
That's important.
That's why you say pick up the phone.
And that's the only reason why the city's not having to pay for archiving under our Facebook page is
Because
because
we don't answer those, yeah,
do not, or we're gonna have to pay for it.
that's right.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
I'm
And it's
offending you
a lot
right
of
now.
work. No, you're not.
So, it's not
But they
fair
said
to,
that you will all have to, if you go on there and you start talking city business with someone else,
Oh, yeah,
you have to archive it.
right,
exactly,
on
I
your
know
own
not to talk city
way,
business, and I
yeah.
don't wanna talk city business, Facebook is personal, it's a escape.
And I didn't see that in here, so
It's
that's
great.
gonna be some language that needs to be put in here, that you'll be responsible for archiving it yourself.
Now, the other thing is like, I was friends with Alan prior to all this,
right.
you know, if Dave would get on that,
I'm
and
not-
his friend too, but no, he
It
doesn't
would
want
solve
to,
the
so.
problem if everybody just talked to constituents who had questions for them at their page.
Yeah.
And the rest of you didn't follow it and didn't nose around on it, that would be okay.
Mhm.
Then in the group, we don't talk city business there.
Yeah.
In any of the groups,
Yeah,
like
'cause
that's,
it'll
I can't do
stop-
that here.
Yeah.
It'll stop a lot of the chatter.
And that
we
will stop
see.
a lot of it.
Well, I talked with so-and-so and they say this, and I talked to so-and-so
Yeah.
and they say that.
Yeah.
And it's a citizen that's actually trying to go to each one of us and try to
Individually.
To,
put
right,
pieces of
Did you
information
see
in
what the city
everybody's
council
brain.
just posted?
Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
What's your
it's
opinion?
important that we answer their questions and we communicate and we do all those things, they deserve that.
So we have a.
Yeah.
But we
That's why
can't
we
do
got
it
an
in
email
groups where
and
other
yeah, this
people
was,
aren't.
I agree with David, that's why I have an email address, and that's the only
Yeah,
thing that I communicate with citizens is if they come
And
to
an open
meetings
meeting
that
is
way.
when we talk about it.
Yeah, so, and then it's Facebook Messenger, well, then that's all private anyways, well, not private, but that's not out for everyone to
Otherwise,
see.
it's just pot stirring.
Yeah,
So what's about TikTok?
it is.
But I thought that you were gonna do a TikTok dance.
So like a TikTok video.
Okay, so what are we doing with this and what do y'all want me to bring back for the future? Anything or nothing? All of
Well-
it, what?
William wants it
What
all.
I started out with, I think we just illustrated what my point was, that this
Right.
doesn't address any of those things
It
we talked
doesn't?
about. So let's change this thing so it's got one item in it, which is we ain't using TikTok.
Number 11A,
and
All
it'll be
of
number
11. All of 11 addresses the use of TikTok.
yeah,
Oh, it
So
does?
let's
yeah,
Okay.
all 11.
adopt 11 and then table
Just
the
Table
remaining.
the other.
We'll renumber it to
Stick it to
one,
the man, Dave.
we'll just renumber it to one, and then we'll ditch everything else, and if we need to do anything else, we'll
Yeah,
have a
that's-
second, we'll have a separate resolution later that
We'll use our social media guru to start.
I make a motion that we approve 11A. All of
All of
All of
11.
11.
all of 11.
all of
but
11.
renumbered as one.
All right.
And everything else is tabled.
Okay, so we
Cindy.
have Dave with the first, Cindy with a second, all in favor? All right,
And then we,
that motion
we need
carries.
to add something onto we need to get a workshop to sit down and go through this, really identify what the problems are and the concerns and the issues.
Yeah.
And then figure out what we really need to do to address each one of those items, because this doesn't address any of the stuff we talked about.
And if you wanna do real world issues, you can use me as the guinea pig.
And whoever wrote this.
So I'd like to know if I did something wrong.
You need to make sure they understand what first person.
I am the guinea pig.
And I think you're reading it out of context.
It
It
says
say-
we-
it says
it
first
says-
person we,
Not I.
but not, we is not first person.
Please don't start the.
Use
program.
we instead, use first person we instead of I.
William's face.
Can we talk about adjectives?
Let's,
Yeah, no problem.
that's not on the
Courtney, we're
agenda.
getting off topic here.
So, let's
Exactly.
move on to agenda item number 5. This is council business executive session under 551-071, consultation with our attorney for the purpose of discussing the BNSF litigation, and we will, move to executive session at 6:03. All right.
So there's no other meeting tonight, cause it got moved.
No, P and Z and our other meeting will be together on the 21st.
I didn't know.
And
It was nice
everybody,
meeting y'all.
At the school.
Thank you very much, look forward to
Yes.
working with you.
Thanks for your help.
Sorry, Wade, I'm out of your group, but.
I will start doing the compilation to get it,
Well, if
then
it's
it
not
goes to
hybrid,
Laura.
then it doesn't matter, right?
tear sheets.
all
of
the procurement documentation,
I'm
yes, sir,
not-
and if you don't mind, sir, that's executed.
No, if I'm not
You
your
just gotta go
admin,
back.
like we were saying, you have someone else be
That's
your
what I was getting
admin, I'll
ready
have
to
someone else
say.
be my